Now, next up, one of the exclusive stories featured on startupdaily.net today comes from Mark Calabro, the founder of hospitality startup HungryHungry. In the essay, What COVID-19 Taught Me About Running a Tech Startup, Mark shares what he's learned, both good and bad, about the last crazy 6 months. It's so good that we thought we'd talk to him about it here on the show, and Mark joins us now via Skype. Hi, Mark. Welcome to Startup Daily TV.
Great to be here. Good afternoon.
Mark, when you launched HungryHungry a little over a year ago, none of us knew what was coming. And while you've helped more than 1,000 venues this year, it's not been without personal pain, as you detail in your essay. Take us through what happened to you and HungryHungry when COVID hit.
Yeah, I suppose it's like for many business owners who, every day it's like running into another fire. And even certainly before COVID hit, we were a small team, small business, trying to bring something new into the market. And we often talk about things like, contactless and digital menus at a time where no one really understood what those terms meant. So come March and on the onset of COVID, it really just brought a whole bunch of new challenges to what was already a business that was just starting to take form and also just starting to also raise some capital as well.
And Mark, how quickly did you have to sit down and decide what part of the business you were going to focus on? And then how were you able to help all of these venues?
Yeah, so we started with out-of-venue ordering. So that was the consumer comes in, scans a QR code, can see the menu and order from the comfort of their own seat. So COVID hit and we had a shutdown of the entire industry. So we had to very, very quickly just ask ourselves some really hard questions. We already had some features that we'd built out previously that we had to bring back to life. But what happened also very quickly, and we're talking within days, that we had restaurants and cafes coming to us with features that they needed. And it was, everything was happening in real time. And we were building processes on the fly. We were explaining to our staff how these features were going to be used and how we should actually train people on how to use them. So it was very much like being in a washing machine on full cycle, 24/7.
One of the things you talk about in the piece is how you were jumping on Facebook to deal with some of the sort of anger that was blowing up because, of course, at the same time you were taking the onboarding process for customers down from 2 weeks to 48 hours. You guys were hammer and tongs all the way. And as you said, you were caught in the washing machine. What did you say to the team and what did you say to yourself in terms of getting through it?
Well, at the start, we just generally wanted to get as many people and help as many people as we could and get them onto the platform. We hit a point there where we had that much traffic on the platform, and of course the servers were really struggling to cope with the load, that we had to make some pretty hard decisions. And we're lucky we had some great advice from an incoming chairman who'd been through some similar type crises, and we just had to really just pull the brakes on how we're onboarding. The servers, the traffic, everything got gutted. So it was really challenging. And the reality of that is that, we had some pretty harsh conversations with some customers that we had let down, and the whole team really felt the pain of that. And for the vast majority of people, they understood the situation, and we just had to take the time to really explain to them what was happening in the background and to have faith in us ultimately and stick with us. And most of them all have, which is wonderful.
Can I just ask on that front, did that personal touch change it as opposed to someone yelling at you on Twitter?
Yeah, I took the opinion pretty quickly that these conversations were going to be very, very raw. We were watching, of course, a lot of the social feeds, and as soon as we'd see someone say something, we would, along with other team members, would very quickly jump in just to start a conversation. And naturally, you want to take those things offline, but we're very, very proactive to front up and just offer people the explanation of what we were doing.
On that crazy period of a couple of months ago, what do you think is the biggest thing that you learned about managing a business through a crisis?
Where do you start? It's about really, I mean, in or out of a crisis is about having great people around you to support you. It's it can be very taxing on running a business at the best of times, but looking back, just having great people around you, staying true to yourself, checking in with yourself to remind yourself why you're actually doing it. If it's coming from a place of what really makes you get out of bed and hungry to get back into a task and a project, it's for the right reasons. I mean, I don't see this as work. I love what we do, and I love being able to help businesses out, at a time that they need it more than ever.
Well, Mark, we really appreciate you sharing your insights on startupdaily.net today. It is a great piece. I recommend everyone go and have a read of it, especially if you're a startup founder, especially if you find yourself stuck in the washing machine. Thanks so much for joining us on the show as well today.
Thanks for having me.